And I just want to stick on your style, man, because, and again, I urge people to check it out. We're not talking about anyways. This is an international artist here, but for real, the use of atmospherics and combined with the way in which you use the use of colours within the characters and the energy within the detail in the characters.
Yeah.
It's like there's an energy to it that's really hard to put across, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, the energy... Well, a lot of the energy that comes from the hip hop culture thing as well, and it comes from music, man. You know, not a lot of people know I'm a DJ as well, so music is very, very important. And you can, if you look at my work, you can see the rhythm, you can see the music.
Yes, that's right.
Do you know what I mean? So
that's where the funk comes from.
Yeah, that's where the funk is. Exactly, man. So you know, the two go hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? So when I'm painting, I have to have music on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so and that kind of get lost in the kind of in the vibe, and so there's that creates that kind of soul to my pieces. You know what I mean? And the kind of and you know I want when you look at my pieces, because when I'm painting them, I get lost in a work because it's all when I paint, it's all freestyle.
What?
So I don't have it's all in my head. So which. When
pre-paper, nothing.
Just the photograph. So I have the reference image. The rest of it is in my head, everything. So I break it down in my head, and even on the big murals, even on like 150 foot high, that's the way I work. When people see me working, they're looking at me like I'm completely mad. They're like, "Where's your design?" I'm like, "It's up here, man." They're like, "No, don't be. You're winding me up." I'm like, "No." So people can't get with that. They can't understand it. And then, once they realise that, they're like, wow. You know what I mean? But I can't work any other way because that's my graph roots. That's how okay, you might have a little rough outline, but you have to freestyle, man.
Okay, right. So, because I only know like a few people that do that on a level, this side of the pond level, I think.
Well, there's not many people who do it anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Which is why...
I've been at festivals, there's been like 50 artists. I've been the only one not projecting.
That's mad. I mean?
And everyone's like,
that's just
you're the guy who doesn't project.
Yeah.
Surely it should be the other way around. Yeah. You know what I mean?
To my knowledge, the only other person I know that is, I don't think Arrow. I think Arrow kind of...
Yeah, he's Gen. And
same.
we're from the same time, same school, man. Yeah. Exactly. So,
okay, I've got because we're going to
and that's such an important thing, being able to freestyle, I think.
Without question. That's your battle instinct. That's your battle instinct.
Yeah. Another thing lost, though. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe not.
And you'd be surprised. No. But, you'd be surprised because there's even quite a lot of
really
old school dudes. And you're like, let's do it. And they're like, they...
I'm just blown away that is on every piece that I've ever seen of yours, Instagram or wherever, it's always...
Yeah, every piece is completely original,
I just can't...
a lot of people think, because I do a lot of black and white drawings as well, they think that they're the kind of drawings, but no, that's just me just freestyling on paper. But I just have a photograph, and then the rest that's whatever happens. And that's, again, for me, it's almost like... however big the wall is, it's like how I work on canvas, and so every piece is a new adventure. Do you know what I mean? That's what keeps it interesting. Because if you're just copying something, and you see some people painting at the wall, and they've got every colour marked out, it's like, that must be boring, man.
It is a bit filling the gaps.
It must be boring. For me, it's fun because it's like you don't know what's going to happen. It's like that's the whole fun part of it. Right,
I'm going to have to get... you know what, mate? I'm going to have to get into this in a proper... Because, again, there's going to be people that are very familiar with your work that aren't entirely integrated in the hip-hop graffiti way of thinking. Right, so how do you break down, in proportion, what you're seeing mentally, seeing on the paper, getting it on a wall that could be, like you say, 6 to 10 foot? How do you get that?
Well, of course, so when you're scaling it out, there's... Well, you've got to remember, if you've grown up doing graffiti, you've learned your draftsman skills.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because,
You're no longer the prospect. You've learned,
working out how big each letter is and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know, trying to fit your piece in a production, whereas everyone, you know what I mean. All these little things. So already you know some basic tricks
Yeah.
of where to place something on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, so that's already my basic skills there. Then there's, you know, as you. Yeah, painting big walls are another whole beast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
The
a
big
whole nother
murals,
level, yeah.
So, you know, you pick up, there's little tricks you pick up. Do you know what I mean? Of course, to get it in to scale it up and stuff like that, you know. I use little kind of rough grids and stuff. You know, you have to when you're doing faces because they got to be right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't have, it's no good having a wonky face, man. You know what I mean?
Especially,
You know,
especially
which
the world's
obviously when
going.
I started there was lots of wonky faces, but you know, so there's little tricks like that. But in terms of like you say, in terms of like breaking it down and just getting busy, that's where the image comes in. So I spend a lot of time looking at photographs, you know, and it's the photograph is like the first inspiration. So I'm looking for unusual kind of you know, unusual kind of lighting, unusual angles, you know, and I look at a lot of, I don't take my own photographs. I do sometimes, but mainly I work with photographers.
That's
So
cool.
I'm looking through stuff and then I hit them up on Insta, say, look, I love your stuff. Can I use this image?
Brilliant.
And then I just tag them in and we share it. You know what I mean?
That's
we
what it
share
should be.
Exactly. So,
Big shout out to those photographers as well. They don't
Yeah,
get
of
enough
course,
credit,
man.
man.
Yeah, yeah,
They're out
exactly.
there getting them, you know, because a lot of writers don't bother doing it. They just take things and they're gone. You know, but to get a professional shot, you know.
yeah, definitely, man. Definitely, you know. So, and then once I've got that, you know, I can almost, it's almost like when I look at something, I almost just automatically break it down. I've got like a Spider-Man kind of
That's
brain, you
mad.
know, where it's like, I just break it down into this mad kind of psychedelic in
Yeah.
my head. You know what I mean? I can just see the shapes, the graph shapes in a picture. Do you know what I mean? That's why, you know, with the feet, I say all about the cheekbones and stuff like that. Because it's,
Is that where
so
you start? Is there a starting point with the faces? And
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, man. As I say, it's got to be a little bit unusual, a little bit, you know, I don't do straight on normally. I do kind of side angles, and I do look for those letter shapes in the portraits. You know what I mean? Like you just can't escape it. Once if that's your, you know, that's how you've started and that's your roots. Letters will always be with you,
Yeah.
man. It's like,
I'd love to have
oh man, it's
when you
crazy. You
start
can't get
breaking-
away from it.
when you start breaking down that, when you see the picture for the first time, when you start breaking down, I kind of want a David Attenborough narration moment inside your head. Right now, Cenz is recalibrated
One day there'll be the
configuring.
technology to be able to.
yeah, that's it. What about colours though? So from a colours point of view, you know,
Well, that's okay. So obviously, again, there is definitely a link to the you know, early graph kind of stuff. You know, mixing those kind of colours which just shouldn't go together, like pinks and oranges.
which is fucking great. That's what I love
Yes,
about graph, man.
But you know, and that was because like that was you basically. You had to get paint, however means,
Yeah.
and you didn't know what colours you were going to get, and you had to make them work.
Yeah.
So that's that kind of thing. So I've always had that fascination with making colours that just shouldn't go together work. But not many people can do it, and it takes a long time. Again, many years to all of a sudden. I mean, so many years of like, remember sitting there, you know, trying to pick colours for a piece. Like, oh, this is hard, man. And again, it's just one day. It's just like, all of a sudden, it just clicked. It's like, you know what? I know what to do now.
Yeah,
I'm not going to give that secret away, but
No, there's certain things that we can.
you got to learn yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Learn yourself. God damn it. But I get you.
But it's hard
I could, yeah,
to
without
use so
question.
many colours because I use.
Can imagine.
Man, I'm used to like 60 different bloody colours or whatever. It's crazy. It is hard, and it's a bit, you know, confusing at times.
Is it like it's like you know, a spaghetti incident?
Yeah,
in your
it
head?
is. Yeah. That's the hardest thing when you start a mural. It's getting the colours right. It takes a couple of days to get the whole kind of the flow of the colours right. You know.
Here's a question for you, actually, mainly because we all go through it. Have you ever got to that point in the piece where you're just like, shit, man, I don't even know. Hold on, I've really misjudged this colour scheme, or
Yeah. Every time. Every time, because I'm like every time.
Because
So
you're
the
freestyling.
first, So the first, I mean, you know, the first day or two, it's like, oh, what am I doing? This is not working. Man. Do you know what I mean? Then it comes. But that takes confidence. Like this, back to the freestyle thing. It takes many, many years to have the confidence to be able to freestyle, especially on a big scale.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen overnight, man. You know what I mean? And it is really, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about confidence, and it's about, years and years of practice.
Repetition, yeah.
Yeah.